Hey, good morning. This is Brittany with the Seniors Blue Book, and happy Tuesday. This morning, I am so happy to be joined by Ira and Daniel from Advocates in Aging. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing excellent. How about you guys?
Great.
Doing well.
Good, good. Are you surviving the heat and the humidity as soon as you walk outside?
I stay at my desk.
Yeah.
Every morning when I should do it the opposite, but I tend to get ready and then walk the pups, and yeah, you're instantly sweating, and it's definitely summertime, right?
Yeah, and we're doing our document signings in the parking lot, so when it's 90 degrees out, and I'm still wearing a wool jacket when I go out, to keep it professional. It gets a little warm and toasty out there.
I bet. You need to set up like an air-conditioned tent.
Right, I know.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I would love for you guys to just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about Advocates in Aging, and then we'll kind of jump into some of the topics right now that are very relevant and real during COVID-19. So I'll hand it over to Daniel first.
Sure, I'm Daniel Smith. I'm an elder law and estate planning attorney here at Advocates in Aging. And I will let Ira introduce himself since he has a wealth of experience and knowledge. And he's going to be talking about ageism and issues related to that in COVID, and I'll be addressing how to navigate guardianships during the COVID-19 time. Ira?
Okay, well, I'm Ira Wiesner, and I founded this firm, Advocates in Aging. And interesting about the name, instead of Advocates for Aging, we chose to call it Advocates in Aging because all of us are in this situation. None of us are not going to get old, we hope. We all want to get old. The question is, what does that growing older mean? And at what time are we identifying ourselves as older in the community? What are the legal issues that come up as we progress through this, both for our elder clients as well as for ourselves? And so I'm going to turn over to Daniel the discussion, particularly about what we're doing with our clients who are facing incapacity issues in the overlay of the COVID, where our access to the courts are limited, our access to each other is limited, and in a crisis situation, what can we look for? So Daniel, go for that.
Excellent. Sure. All right. Thank you, Ira. Okay, I want to start from the beginning because, during these times, a lot of our seniors we've noticed are very isolated, right? Our seniors that are in the facilities, they're on more of kind of not necessarily a lockdown, but they're not able to mingle with their community members. They're not able to go to the dining halls and mix at the same time. And a lot of them are just, whether it's by choice or the restrictions, are really confined to their rooms and not getting, of course, not getting that face-to-face experience, and even less so the phone calls and everything. We're trying to keep them up, but they're just not getting as much one-on-one experience. And we're noticing kind of a rapid deterioration in some individuals, especially those with dementia and Alzheimer's, even more so prior to COVID. So I want to kind of start off on the signs to look for, especially during these times, because we can't meet with our seniors face to face. So what do we need to look for, right? So if there's individuals that I would just start with, if you can't do a face-to-face, let's say the senior's not at home, so you can't do a face-to-face, but they're in a facility. Some facilities are allowing for you to meet with the senior through a glass door and kind of call in and speak with them and actually see them. If you're not able to do that and not able to set up a video conference with the facility, just a phone call too. It's important to check on their memory. That's a good place to start to see if they're remembering as well. And you don't want to make it an interrogation, but simple facts about their life that they would know, or important updates about their life within the past week to question them on. Not to pry and be nosy, but you can kind of get a sense easily if their memory is starting to be on the decline, and that's what we've noticed. So that's where to start. If there's some concern, and you'll know right away if there's serious concern. The memory issues, also the cleanliness, right? Let's say the client's at home and you go by and visit and there's just that things are in disarray, they're not cleaning up, there's a lot of excuses. There might be some cognitive issues there. the client may need some help with their activities of daily living. And that's when the question turns into, okay, is this an incapacity issue? Do I need a guardianship? What do I need? So let's start with the premise that the courts are always going to look to see if there's a lesser restrictive alternative than guardianship. What does that mean? Well, the court's going to say, does this individual have advanced planning documents, advanced directives, right? Is there a living will or an advanced directive for healthcare appointing a healthcare surrogate for somebody to make healthcare decisions on this individual's behalf? If so, then it's not necessarily to get, may not be necessary to get a guardianship for those healthcare decisions. Also, is there a durable power of attorney? Meaning, if that person is incapacitated, is there somebody able to make financial decisions, sign contracts with the facilities, etc.? If so, guardianship may not be needed, right? Is there a trust set up to manage that individual's assets? These are the things the court's going to look for right away before determining whether, okay, do I need to appoint a guardian? So here's, I've got kind of 4 scenarios to look for where guardianships are common. First, the individual's not taking care of himself or herself and has no pre-planning documents at all, right? No advanced directives, there's nobody to make decisions, right? So we need legal authority to act on behalf of this individual that is incapacitated. That would be a good candidate for guardianship. Second, that we've seen frequently is there's a family member dispute, right? The individual may have designated joint surrogates who are not getting along, or one surrogate, but it may be the current spouse, and there is a child from a prior marriage that is really butting heads and not agreeing and making a fuss, or the spouse is making a fuss and the child from a prior marriage is listed as the surrogate. And anyway, there's a family dispute and we need this resolved by the court because the medical professionals, the financial professionals can't do their job, right? And the third is, let's say the individual does have pre-planning documents. There's not necessarily a dispute among surrogates, but that person's an imminent danger to himself or others, right? Leaving his house at all hours of the night, causing a disturbance among neighbors, or he has a surrogate listed, not cooperating at all, hiding assets, doing things like that. We may need court intervention through a guardianship. And the fourth is, okay, maybe the individual has documents, but they're really old and haven't been updated, so they're essentially ineffective, right? The facilities, they don't want to touch them. They don't even want to send them to their legal compliance department. They're so old, or they're out-of-state documents, and the Florida facilities, they don't want to touch them. Or let's say they're Florida documents, but they left something out, or they downloaded them online, and they've been sent to legal compliance, and they're ineffective. Well, we need somebody to act on that individual's behalf. That may be a good candidate for guardianship right there. So again, now let's talk about the process. We know who are good candidates. So what about the process? Yes, COVID-19 has slowed things down. So once clients call us, we set up, we were meeting face-to-face, right, here at the office. We don't do that anymore because of COVID. We're going to set up either a phone conference or video conference via Zoom or any other video conferencing platform the client may like, Skype, etc. Once we can get details and decide, okay, let's go forward with a guardianship. Okay, we were having clients come by signing the documents. Well, now for those pleadings, we can do DocuSign, right? Digital signing of pleadings. Or if the individual doesn't like using the internet, etc., we can still have them come by the office, but we're doing parking lot signings, as I mentioned earlier at the outset, right? Individual calls our office, they don't come inside. We come out wearing the PPE and bring the documents sanitized. Clients can bring their own pens, sign the documents, hand them back to us in the parking lot. They never step foot inside the office to minimize the contact with our clients. And of course, we ask individuals that are experiencing symptoms or have traveled, etc., to please not come until after that 14-day quarantine period. Now, in terms of guardianship actions during the court process, there have been some delays, right? The court's going to appoint the 3-member examining committee, and some of those examining committee members aren't going to be comfortable going into either a client's home or a facility, or the facility is not allowing for it. So either we're going to need a court order providing for that, or the facility is going to have to make arrangements to provide for video conferencing for the examining committee members to conduct that examination. So everything, just like in every business, everything's kind of switching over to more digital, right? Remote. Same thing for the hearings. More of the judges here, particularly Judge Rule in Venice and South County, does a lot of Zoom hearings, right? Zoom video conference, and you can have evidence admitted, et cetera, all using the Zoom platform. So we're moving forward at a rapid pace, but we're still accommodating clients who aren't tech savvy so much, so that we can still accomplish our mission here and service our clients just as we were pre-COVID. So with that, I want to turn it over to Ira to address ageism during the COVID times.
Thank you, Daniel. I don't know if any of you saw the article that was in the Sarasota Herald Tribune. I think it was on June 23rd, so it was a couple of weeks ago. And the title of the article was "Ageism is Harmful to Health of Older Adults." And it was written by a team of researchers, University of South California and University of Texas at Austin. The latter one, Austin, I think is having some real difficulties right now concerning the COVID. The article brings out, I think, a very significant issue that has always been in the background, and we all know it. We've been in this aging field for a very long time. Even if you're new to it, you probably sense it even more. And that there is this sense that, well, they're older people, therefore their memory is going to go, therefore they're forgetful, therefore they are not making good judgments, they're just old. And we develop in the society an attitude that older people are on the way out. When we do that, what we're doing and allowing those ideas to manifest is that we're adopting a sense that the older people are other, that they're not the same as us. Somehow they are distinct from us. And I think the COVID situation is bringing this up. If you were watching the news over the weekend, you saw as represented a distinction between young people and the concern for the older people. And so at some point in time, that concern or that differentiation can impact things. It can impact the way your facility operates. It impacts the way Medicaid and Medicare are starting to cover different things, the way health insurance is covered, how facilities are treated administratively by the state government. There seems to be an isolation of elders and the facilities that they work with. And in fact, that also trickles down to the younger people who are working with these elders under very significant stresses. Daniel was mentioning about video conferencing with elders who are in care facilities. And my mother-in-law is at a care facility here, and our only real contact with her is on a weekly basis. We can have a Skype conference, and the staff is wonderful. They're very cooperative, they're very helpful, they're very joyous, trying to do this under very significant concerns. According to the World Health Organization, they claim that the last socially acceptable discrimination is ageism, that it's okay to discriminate against a person because of their age. The COVID has brought this up in tremendous significance because, according to the CDC, 80% of the deaths that have been caused by COVID have been in the population over 65. I'm going to guess that over the course of the next 4 months, we're going to see that percentage dropping a little bit. The problem with that is we look at elders, and that also means we're looking at the people who are working with the elders as somehow the problem, and we're a solution. And to make them, and I say this mostly because of the workers in the facilities who are younger. We're not getting the data on how many of them have suffered as a result of COVID. And they're the ones who are being identified as the problem, not the seniors. The seniors are dying. It's the caregivers who come into the facility and who are claimed to bring in the COVID. And so the crush is going to come in more on, I believe, the people who are working in the aging community than the aged people themselves. And we're going to see that trickle down in just diminution of support and services. So what is the solution to this? I think the solution is for us in the aging field is to keep focus that the people that we are working with are people. They are somebody's mom or dad, or grandmother or grandfather, aunt or uncle. They have been wonderful people in our communities and in our families. And because they have transitioned because of age and illness and injury into care facilities does not diminish their importance to us. They're not strictly the cause of the problem, but they're the ones who are suffering because of the problem. And to realize and hold in our hearts, I think, that our job is to advocate for these people, to stand up for them, to say that they can speak with their family, to make sure that they're not disheveled and that just because they're not letting the beauty parlor people into the facility, that we can't take care of maintaining them with their hair combed, clean, dressed well every day. This is not we're not hiding ourselves in a cave. And we shouldn't take the people that we're dealing with, who we care for and we're working for. These are the people we work for. And to make sure that we show them the care and compassion and the consideration that we would want if we were in that position. They're our link to the world right now. So the people who are working are the only bridge between them and the world they used to know. And so it becomes incumbent on us to make sure that we hold our own values, not be brought down by all of this negative media coverage that's going on, and realize that we are the ones who are privileged. We're the ones who are not the legal guardians, but we're the social guardians for the people who, because we're the ones who care. And when I say we, I mean everybody in this community. The work that SBB does in bringing the aging network together is something that I haven't seen, and it's so beautiful. It's the best thing that I've seen in this community in 40 years of doing this kind of work, because it makes us a community. It makes us together. It gives us our strength, and we take that strength and give it back to the community. I know this is not the legal discussion everybody wants. But it's part of what we're all about. And so I'm going to turn this back over to Judge Brittany, who is holding court these days. And thank you very much for your attention. Wishing you the best for the week, and please stay healthy and stay strong.
Thank you so much, Ira and Daniel. You guys are amazing, and you're such an invaluable resource to us. And for what you said, it almost brought me to tears, because that's truly the heart of what we do, is trying to bring together, there's kind of two separate things. You have the professional network, which we're trying to bring together, as well as, of course, the heart of what we do, which is providing you and other resources for seniors and caregivers who need them the most. So thank you for everything that you guys do. And I do want to share real quick just your website, so that people can learn more about you specifically. And Daniel, what is the best phone number? Is it this one up here, the 941-242-7270, or what's the best number to reach you at?
That's perfect.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure. Sometimes people have multiple numbers, but check out wiesnerlaw.com. And also, of course, if you have any questions, or you guys offer so many different services, not just the guardianship. Just real quick, Daniel, what are a couple of run-throughs of the services that you provide for clients?
Oh, sure. Yeah. In addition to the estate planning, right? Your advanced directives for healthcare, durable powers of attorney, last will and testament, revocable trust or any trust, special needs trust, right? We do special needs planning as well. Medicaid pre-planning as well for those clients who may need to qualify for Medicaid for skilled nursing facilities. We also do, as I mentioned, guardianships, right? And guardianship administration, trust administration as well, probate and anything related to probate after person passes away, and just any other issues affecting elders. Give us a call.
Awesome. So as they say, I think court is adjourned. Is that like, I need a mallet. Thank you so much. And again, I appreciate your time and everybody who tuned in. I hope you got some great information. I know I learned a lot. And Ira, I really appreciate your words. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys, have a great day.